In this lesson, let's learn the processing techniques of raw dark tea. Because of its different sales areas, different types of dark tea are processed with different techniques, and different specifications and different lifestyles of minority nationalities. It has been permanently adjusted to the quality requirement of a specific type of tea with strong locality. Now, I am going to introduce the following content on the processing techniques and quality description of Hunan dark tea. First of all, let's get to know the picking techniques of Hunan dark tea. 1. Raw dark tea is processed from mature new shoots. Its picking period is quite late, which is generally once in mid-May, twice in mid-July, and 3 times from late September to early October. The picking standard is first-class raw tea with 1 bud and 3 to 4 leaves. Second-class raw tea with 1 bud and 4 to 5 leaves. Third-class raw tea with 1 bud and 5 to 6 leaves. And fourth-class raw tea with clamped leaves. Because new shoots are thick and hard, copper or iron filigree is generally used for picking and cutting. Some are cut by small firewood knife, and they are spread after picking. 2. Processing techniques. The processing techniques of Hunan raw dark tea is grouting enzyme inactivation, rolling while hot, piling, rolling for the second time to deblock, and drying by layer over a fire on loose firewood. First, enzyme inactivation. Because new shoots are thick and hard with a relatively low water content, normally leaves for enzyme inactivation need to be watered first, which is generally known as grouting. The purpose of grouting is to increase the steam during enzyme inactivation, to guarantee a thorough enzyme inactivation. The amount of water spread is 1 out of 10 of the amount of leaves. Stir while watering. For dewy leaves and rainwater leaves, watering is optional. Enzyme inactivation generally involves machinery and is required to be thorough and even. Second, rolling. Leaves after enzyme inactivation should be put into the rolling machine for rolling while still hot, until most of the leaves become strips. Old leaves fold, tea juice spills, and the cell damage rate exceeds 20%. Leaves can then be clustered and removed from the machine for stacking and piling. If strips loosen after piling, they should be rolled again. Whether it is in initial rolling and second rolling, leaves should be pressed lightly and rolled slowly for a short time. Otherwise, leaf blades will easily separate from leaf veins to form loofah, or the skin of tender stalks will fall off to form skinned stalks. Roll 15 minutes for the first time and 10 minutes for the second time. Then leaves can be removed from the machine. Third, piling. Piling is a crucial step in the initial processing of dark tea. For the initial rolling, keep going until leaves cluster and there's no need to deblock. Stack on clean ground behind the window after clustering to avoid direct sunlight. The pile should be around 1 meter high. Cover it with a damp cloth to keep it warm and moist. The suitable ambient temperature for piling should be above 25 degrees Celsius, and the relative humidity for air should be around 85%. The water content of raw tea should exceed 65%. If the leaves become over dry during rolling, spread them with clear water. If piling begins at a temperature of 30 degrees Celsius after 24 hours, the temperature of the tea pile may rise to 42 to 45 degrees Celsius. At this time, leaves turn into yellowish brown and is clear of grassy odor, giving a faint aroma of sweet distiller's grains. When dewdrops emerge on the surface of the tea pile and the leaves become slightly sticky and appear to be bamboo green in the light, translucent, piling is properly done. If leaves feel muddy and slippery in hands and give a sour odor, piling is overly done. Overly piled leaves can be dried immediately without the second rolling. Properly piled leaves need to be rolled again before drying. Fourth, second rolling. Raw tea after piling loosens and needs to be rolled again to tighten in 2 strips. After 10 minutes of second rolling, it can be removed from the machine and deblocked. Raw tea can be dried immediately after deblocking. Fifth, drying. The traditional drying techniques of dark tea are carried out on a special 7-star stove. Wet raw tea is dried by layer over an open fire on pine firewood, at once for a long time. The raw tea is oily, dark, with a strong aroma of pine smoke and tea. A 7-star stove consists of 5 parts: stove body, fire odor, 7-star hole, uniform temperature slope, and bed. After pine firewood starts burning in fire, the open fire penetrates the 7-star hole, and after it is diffused by the 7-star hole, it is evenly distributed to different parts of the baking lathe through a uniform temperature slope. After the temperature of the baking lathe has exceeded 70 degrees Celsius, start spreading the first layer of secondly rolled leaves with a thickness of 2 to 3 centimeters. Make sure they are evenly spread without gaps. When the first layer of leaves are baked to 70% to 80% dry and feel stingy in hands, spread the second layer of secondly rolled leaves. The second layer of leaves should be slightly thinner than the first layer. Keep adding layers to bake, to a total of 5 to 7 layers, and the total thickness will reach 17 to 20 centimeters. Add 1 more layer of leaves until the last layer of leaves is baked to 70% to 80% dry. Then they can be removed from fire. Place some pine firewood on the stove opening to lower the baking temperature. Use a specially made iron fork to insert into the baking lathe at a tilted angle to flip the leaves. Use the whole fork to move the dry leaves from the bottom to the top. Flip part by part, and when it is done, add more firewood and bake until the water content reaches around 8%. Stop baking. This is all for the processing techniques of raw dark tea. Among them, the most crucial step is piling. It is also an essential factor in forming the qualities and characteristics of dark tea. Please make sure you understand.